All right. Today is the 6th day of the month of Kislev, right? What's 5? Tomorrow is 6, right? And that's the way it works usually. And Taf Shin Pei, and we are studying the book of Shmuel I, chapter 17, verse 20. And we are in the middle, the beginning of a battle, like some anti-Semites would call today, a cycle of violence, right? So the Philistines started again with us, and they assembled south of Bet Shemesh, and they have their ace, Goliath, who used the past 40 days to curse the Jews, to curse God, to taunt us. We were stationed against each other on two mountaintops, two hills, and he would go to the valley in between where the ultimate war is going to occur, and he would stand there in the middle of the valley and say, "Come on, hit me." Was the goal of the Philistines was to enslave us again. We were slaves for them for a while. And now that King Saul became a king and won the war against them, they didn't have free slaves anymore. So they didn't really want to kill us. They wanted to enslave us. So they didn't go all out to start the fight. They were trying to convince us that we don't have a choice, and we actually do have a choice, and it doesn't really matter if we're slaves for Saul or we're slaves to them. What's the difference? And when we refused politely, he started cursing us. And Shaul, not having the backing of Shmuel and not feeling so good about himself, having this waves of ruach hara, depression, whatever you want to call it, melancholy, feeling not strong, didn't have the guts, or felt that he doesn't have the support to go and start the fight himself. So they were parked, standstill, and 40 days and 40 nights he would come in the morning and in the evening and curse us. Meantime, David, who left his three brothers, David's three brothers, were part of the troops. They were part of the units that were waiting for the war. And he was sent by his father to check on them and give them food, because they didn't take 40 days worth of food. They thought it's going to be a quick one, and it drags and drags and drags. He sent them some food. He sent some food to his commander, to their commander. Their commander was Jonathan, the son of Shaul, right? And he sent, to ask how they're doing. There is an opinion that he sent them to get their gets, their divorce papers, because it was a conditional divorce. In case they die, God forbid, in the war, their wife is not going to stay, hanging, because in those days they didn't have, very efficient or way of taking the wounded or the dead back home, and they would just die and will be buried wherever they fell, And unknown. Similar to World War II, you have so many people who just died in somewhere, and they're just there. So he wanted them to give the papers, but so he asked David to go meet them. וישכם דוד, so we are 17:20. וישכם דוד בבוקר ויטוש את הצאן על שומר. So David, right away, as soon as his father tells him that the previous night, wakes up very early in the morning. David's regular job was to take care of the sheep, of the tzon, of the flock, and he would, that was his duty. So he didn't just abandon his duty. And he put a guard to take care of the sheep while he is away.
He was the youngest?
He was the youngest of 8. Very strange, very strange statement here. Who cares? Why are they telling us that he put a guard? We'll see soon why it's so important. He tied his shoelaces too. He brushed his teeth. Why are they telling us that? So it's very important to show that he's responsible, and we'll see in a second why, because his brother sort of lost it and screamed at him, why are you leaving what are you doing here? And you left your duty, the sheep and the lamb, you left them alone. It doesn't make sense. So we preempted by saying that he made sure that it's guarded.
But he was following his father's orders.
Oh, that's true. But, you can follow the orders, the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, It's like a long time ago when my brother was small, was very young, small and young, and, my father asked him to bring him a piece of paper because he wanted to put his shoes, so they don't, so he brought him a little bit, like a post-it, so he got a piece of paper, but it's not. So his father told him to go. He could have just gone, but he made sure that nothing happens to the sheep. So he went and did as his father commanded him. And he came to the circle. What is the circle? So just like in modern warfare, you have the camp and you have the battleground, and they're not one and the same. They're away from each other typically. The camp was guarded was a circle. A circle is an easier structure to guard both ways, from people coming in and from people running out. They didn't want, there was in any army in those days, now I don't know how it works nowadays, but in those days, people would be afraid and they will just run away. And they made sure that to have security for people not going in or out. So that was the circle. And what happened in the battleground? But in the most of the soldiers happened to not be in the circle in the camp, because they were going out to the battleground, and things started heating up. After 40 days and 40 nights, it started heating up. Everybody felt that it's time. Something has to give. It cannot continue that way. So they were there in the battleground. And hereu b'milchama, in those days, the one of the key components in war is who's making more noise. You're making more noise, so you get yourself all excited and all the friends, to rally behind you, and you get the other side to be afraid. In 1948, at the time of the independence war in Israel, they had the Davidka. This is a mortar that made a lot of noise. Killed nobody. It didn't kill a fly. It didn't hurt a fly, but made a lot of noise. And they sent one of those to Haifa and one of those to Tzfat, and they had a few of them, and they won battles because of the noise. So here we have the noise. And so the Jewish army and the Philistines army were standing against each other like the good old days in the way they did it here in the battle of the Revolutionary War. Exactly, they were standing in. They didn't have any drones. They didn't have air power. They didn't have mortars. So it was the old way. ויטוש דוד את הכלים מעליו. So now David is in the camp, and he realizes that his brothers are not there because the camp is sort of half empty. Everybody is where the action is. So he brought with him some, stuff that he was walking with. So he left the stuff al yad shomer hakelim, next to the guard in every camp they would have a guard to to make sure that while they are in the battleground nobody comes to loot the camp. So he asked him to watch over his stuff as well. So he ran to the battleground and he came and met his brothers and fulfilled the request of his father to ask how they are and make sure that they're in peace, that everything is good. והוא מדבר עמם, והנה איש הביניים עולה, גוליית הפלישתי שמו מגת. And as he was speaking with them, and obviously we see that it's all the hand of God. That exactly then the camp emptied out to go to the battleground, and exactly then Goliath shows up and started cursing. It was the timing was obviously managed by someone who's by higher authority. So as he was speaking with them, David, he gives the entire description. The man in the middle, the guy that was the son, the third son of Orpah, right? He was. There were 4 sons, and he was number 3. So he comes, and now it says Ole. Before, the description was that he went down to the valley, and he was staying in the valley and asked the Jews, or screamed to the Jews, shouted to the Jews, come down to me, to the valley. Now, things are heating up, and nobody dared to come down to him all this time, so now he's going up the hill already towards us. Goliat Plishti Shmo, so that's Goliath, and he's from Gat, that's the city that he's from. Mimarchot Plishtim, he is coming from the battlefield, from the side of the Philistines. It's written Mime'arot. Me'arot is caves or dugouts. So to teach us a couple of things, but the main thing is that the Philistines were also not sure of in the war, so they dug trenches as well. So he came from the trenches to the plain, to the open area. And he was saying those things that he used to say, and David heard. All of the curses and all of the disrespect and disgracing the name of God and all the Jews. וכל איש ישראל בראותם את האיש וינוסו מפניו ויראו מאוד. And all of the Jews, when they saw this man, he was a very frightening figure, very tall, fully armored, had, I guess, a foul mouth, that scared people away. And everybody was afraid of him. And so they ran away, and they were very scared again and again and again. I mean, for 40 days, and, this day is no different. And obviously they felt they didn't have, it's not like their king, who was tall and handsome and able, who won several wars against the Philistines. He himself didn't dare to walk in and say, okay, let's finish this up. Shaul met in a war already. He met Goliath in the very first war, at the time when the ark was taken away. If you recall, they took the ark, but not the tablets. The tablets were in the ark, but they were rescued. They were rescued by Shaul. Who took the ark? Goliath took the ark. So Goliath was holding the ark, and Shaul came in there into the midst of the battle, and took the tablets from the ark and brought them back to Eli, to Shiloh. So they met already. He knew the guy, and now he's not approaching him. So something told him not to do that. ויאמר איש ישראל, הריתם האיש העולה הזה. So the people were, that was the talk of the town. Did you see this man, כי לחרב את ישראל עולה? That he's cursing us, and he's getting closer, he's walking up to us, now they're scared already. So what do? They offered $10 million reward for his head. again, it's nothing really changed much all this time. So they issued, the king, Saul, issued a decree, a set of rewards. והיה איש אשר יכנו, so actually, Ish Israel, this is actually, I think that's has to do with Shaul himself. Ish Israel is Shaul, yeah. Ish Israel is Shaul. So he himself was speaking and saying, did you see that man who came to disgrace us? I'm going to give a reward, 3 rewards, to the person who is going to smite him, going to hit him, going to win the war. והיה איש אשר יכנו יאשרנו המלך, עושר גדול. So, number 1, the king is going to make him a rich man. He's going to get a lot of money. ואת ביתו ייתן לו. And he's going to give that person his daughter. ואת בית אביו יעשה חופשי בישראל. And his family is also going to be rewarded. His father, his household, is going to be free of taxes. Okay? A lot of very interesting and attractive rewards. Now, the Gemara is telling us that there were 3 people that made such a declaration that whoever is going to, without specificity, I'm going to give them my daughter, or I'm going to... Three people. One of them is Eliezer. Eliezer made a declaration that the person who's going to help me and my camels drink, give us some help us there, I'm going to take them, and he's going to be going to marry the son of my master. Now, it could have been some limping schmo that's coming in, and he didn't know who was going to come, but God helped him, and it worked. Here too, Shaul made a declaration: I'm going to give him my daughter. The people in the war, it could have been anybody, but it worked for him, and David came to be the man. And the third one didn't work for him. That happened before, that Yiftach, when he said, if God is going to make me successful in the war, whoever is going to come greet me, I'm going to sacrifice. Whatever, whomever, whatever, right?
Because he was going to be his daughter.
Right. He became his daughter, right? Exactly. His daughter came, and his daughter ended up, some say killed, some say, not married ever, being in solitary confinement. Terrible. So it didn't work for Yiftach, but it did work for Shaul. Now, since you all know the end of the story, I just want to point out something interesting that sort of might not be. In the text. Which daughter did he end up marrying? Michal. Wrong. Well, right, but wrong. The daughter that Shaul meant to give him was the older sister Meirav. He had 2 daughters, Meirav and Michal. Okay? And he promised Meirav. And as soon as the war, this whole thing turned, the right way, and David won. David went, so he had an IOU of the king. I'm going to give you a lot of money, right? So with that IOU, he goes to Meirav and tells her, "Areat mekudeshet li, you are my wife, on account of this debt that your father, the king, has." We give a ring. Right? A ring doesn't cost that much. Right? It needs to be shaveh pruta. And so he makes her his wife. The problem is that the halacha is that you're not allowed to marry someone, to give her the consideration during the marriage cannot be forgiveness of debt. You cannot. If you borrowed $100 from a certain lady borrowed from you $100, okay, and you tell her, you know what, I'll forgive you for the $100, just be my wife, and that will be the consideration instead of giving her a ring. No good. You can't do it. That's the halacha. So the marriage to Meirav was invalid at the time. it's a whole long story which we're going to bump into again and again and again. Questions like how did he end up afterwards marrying Michal? Because he didn't marry Michal, obviously. That's what the text says. So the rabbis are telling us that he married her after Merav passed away, because you're not allowed to. One of the prime prohibition of improper marriage in the Torah is all being studied and learned and extrapolated from marrying your wife's sister. A person is not allowed to have a relationship with his wife's sister unless
During
they were
her lifetime.
during her lifetime. Right? So she passed away, Merav, so he was able to marry Michal. We will get more and more into this. There are a lot of details as to what happened over there and how in due course. So
they never actually married Michal.
Meirav. So there is a disagreement whether he married her or not, or was it an invalid marriage, or there's a whole discussion. We'll get into it later, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. So very nice. So we hear now that there is a reward offered. ויאמר דוד אל האנשים העומדים עמו לאמור. So now David is talking to the people around him. He's not addressing the king directly, even though he knows the king, because he is his piano man, right? when violin man, whatever. When the king was looking to feel better, he needed music. They found David, who was a good musician, and so and he liked him. He interviewed him, liked him, and he was serving as the king's orchestra. So he knew him, but he did not feel that he can approach him, that he can talk to him for respect, for many reasons we'll see. So what is he saying? He's talking to the people around him. People העומדים עמו, the people who are surrounding him, which are who? Which are his brothers and the people and their friends, right? And says, מה יעשה לאיש אשר יכה את הפלישתי עליו ויסיר חרפה מעל ישראל? He says, he's asking, it seems like he's asking, what reward will be given to the person who is going to smite that Philistine, whatever, and will remove the disgrace of the Jewish people. It doesn't make sense that he was looking for a reward. He was not. That's not the David that we know. So one of the commentaries is saying that he is sort of saying it in a question. Is that what we need in order to? It's like in order to defeat the Philistine, this man. I mean that's there is no comparison. It's like somebody is telling you, you know what? If you defeat Nazi Germany, we're going to give you $1 million and a Ferrari. You're not going to do it for $1 million and a Ferrari. You're going to do it to save the world, right? So he's not going to do it for this. That's not the attraction. The man is cursing, God forbid, God. And so you can't stand on the sidelines and not do anything. And you don't need reward. כי מי הפלישתי הערל הזה כי חירף מערכות אלוקים חיים. Who is this man? Who is this animal? Who is this arel? Basically a description of a Gentile that didn't go through a circumcision, Who is this man that has the guts, the gall to curse the troops of the real God of life, our God. So ויאמר העם כדבר הזה לאמור, כה יעשה לאיש אשר יכנו. So the people are answering him and saying, listen, yes, of course there is an overriding reason to go and fight this person, this animal, and defeat that person. But as a fringe benefit, that's what will happen, If somebody will happen to do that, that's what they'll get. So there was a discussion back and forth. Overhearing the discussion was David's older brother, Eliav. And if you recall, when Shmuel came to, Shmuel was told when Shaul's time was up, and God, he made a mistake with the Amalek, with the Gag, and God decided to, that we need to select another king to lead the Jewish people. He sent Shmuel to the house of Ishai and told him, you go there and I'll show you who the person is. So he comes over there and he sees this tall, handsome guy who looks very much, remind him of Shaul, and that's Eliav, that's the older brother. So this Eliav, the older brother, overheard David talking to the people. And he's not just, schmoozing, like, did you hear that? And did you see, did you see that post? And, did you ever like it? He's not just schmoozing. He seems like he was serious about doing something about it. So Eliab heard him that he overheard talking to the people. Vayichar af Eliab beDavid. So Eliab gets extremely angry at David. He loses it. The rabbis are telling us that because of this anger management problem that Eliab had, he lost the opportunity to be a king, the kingship, right? It says, Kol HaKoes, the rabbis are saying, anyone who's angry on a regular basis, Afilu poskim alav gdula min hashamayim, even if from heavens, from above, God is decreeing that this person is going to rise up, they take him down. The same God who said that this guy has the qualities to go up. Anger have no place in leadership, and we see it till this very day. Who is the most successful ones are usually the ones that are calm, cool, and calculated. There are exceptions, but usually it's the cool ones that make it. Anyway, so he loses it and says, Vayomer, and he started accusing him. And he accuses him for in all kinds of ridiculous accusations, not knowing what's going on. Vayomer, lama ze yarata? Why did you come here? Because he didn't bring him the food over there. If you recall, all the stuff that he brought to give the brothers, he didn't bring to the battleground. There is no room for for feast in the battleground. He left it at the camp with the guard. So when he shows up to the battleground, David is just David. So he thought he came to watch. Where are the bleachers here? Want to see. So that's what he thought. And who did you leave why did you abandon the sheep alone? And he says, Me'at, that we have so little of them. Because Ishai apparently wasn't part of his net worth, a lot of sheep. And the little that he had, he gave David to guard. And now David is here. So where are the sheep? Probably gone. Now, they lived in Hebron, right? In Bethlehem, which is at the edges of the desert. So you put the sheep at the edge of the desert, you come back after an hour, you're not there. Definitely if you come back after the next day, then they're just not going to be there. And now Eliab is really going all the way. I know how evil you are and how bad you have, how your heart means bad all the time. You have evil in your heart. And you're... because you came here just to watch and to see all of us, go to pot. And I mean, what are you doing? Now, obviously, that's totally ridiculous and totally crazy to say that. The point is, going back to what we said long time ago, and we'll see it in one word in the next sentence. Vayomer David me'asiti ata alo davaru. So David is answering him, what did I do now? David was used to it. It wasn't the first time that he screamed at him. David was used to being stepped on and screamed at and accused of things that he didn't do. The rabbis are telling us he was the youngest. and he was suspected to not be a real brother. They thought that maybe the mother had a relationship with someone else. He was the black sheep in the family. They sent him out. He was treated like an outcast, like someone who doesn't belong. So much so that the entire town knew it. The entire town knew it, and whenever something happened in town, oh, it's probably David did it, you know. So someone misplaced their, I don't know, their Coke bottle, and they didn't find it. Oh, probably David took it, and they came and accused David of it. And David, not wanting to have his father shamed by it, he paid. He paid for things that he didn't steal. He tells us, whatever I didn't steal, I paid for. Because he was really oppressed. You know, talking about treating someone, you know, in a bad...
The brothers treated him like Joseph.
They worse, well, not worse. Yeah, they didn't sell him, but yeah. They treated him very badly. So, Alo Davaru, so he told him, you know, there is no basis to what you're saying, you know. He wasn't even arguing with him. You know, it's like a thing, you know. What are you talking about? What did I do? What did I do wrong now? It's a thing, you know. It's my father. He didn't want to tell him the whole Megillah that his father sent him, and he's actually have good food for him in the camp, and you know he's going to have his good full stomach by the time they come back. He didn't want to tell him all of it. He just turned away. Vayisov me'etzlo. So he turned around. You know, I'm not talking to you anymore. El mulacher. So he went to someone else. Vayomer kadavar hazeh, and he kept saying what he was saying, that. What does it mean that this guy is disgracing the name of God and the Jewish people in such a way? He started campaigning for them to recommend him as the person that might be able to help you. He did not want to go directly to Shaul, and he did not want to embarrass Shaul. He did not want. It's not, you know, when you come and say, walking like a gangster, I'll take care of it. You know, he wasn't a gangster, and he wasn't about to act like one. So he was trying to talk to the people to get them to understand that maybe he can help. So vayashivu ha'am davar kadavar rishon. So they kept telling him again and again and again that, yeah, this guy needs to, you know, there is a reward on his head, and yeah, this guy needs to go, and, you know, but it's saying, I'm not going to do anything about it. You know, they kept talking. They kept answering and hearing and talking. So finally, after he spoke to enough people, they realized that maybe there is help here, because none of them, for 40 days, they are talking like that among themselves, you know. It's not new. It's almost like, you know, the impeachment, you know. That for 40 days and 40 nights, you're talking about the same stupid thing, and it doesn't matter what side you're on, you just stop talking about it. You know, so that's what happened over there. So they finally agreed, and they went in front of King Saul. And King Saul summoned him and says, "Come over, let's see." So Vayomer David el Shaul. So then David was asked by Saul. When he was asked, he answered, and he told him, "Al yipol lev adam alav." A person, a human being, should not have a weak heart against this kind of an animal, because this person is not even rising to a level of a human being. The way he's acting, the way and the way his emotional state. His emotional state is not an emotional state of a hero. We hear many times about some special, you know, soldiers in the army that passed away, and they wrote poetry, and they had all kinds of strength, and they send especially in the Israeli army. That's what I read. I don't read about other armies, but people of quality, you know. A lot of the soldiers are really quality people, and they know stuff, and they have an emotional strength of a special person. And that animal doesn't have it. So he has some muscles, but he doesn't have brains. He doesn't have a heart. So I am going to go and I'm going to take care of this guy, and I'm going to fight against him. Now, just to remind you, Eliav was a tall, handsome guy. David was handsome, but very short and scrawny and redhead. A small kid, you know. He doesn't. At this point, by the way, he was about 30 years old. Okay, so he was a man already, but nonetheless, so he's a small, not very compared to a 10-footer, is not a match. ויאמר שאול על דוד לא תוכל ללכת אל הפלישתי על זה. ששאול tells David the obvious thing, you're not going to be able to fight this guy, להילחם עמו, כי נער אתה, והוא איש מלחמה מנעוריו. You're a kid, 30-year-old, but you look like a kid, and you are a kid in terms of your ability, and this guy was raised to fight. He was a gladiator from birth, who are you you're not going to be able to. ויאמר דוד על שאול. So David started describing events that happened before, that right now he finally understands why they happened. Strange events that happened to him, and he was able to overcome, that prepared him for this moment. And what is that event? ויאמר דוד אל שאול, רואה היה עבדך לאביו בצאן. So he's telling him that your slave, your Eved, I'm a shepherd. I'm a shepherd for my father, and I took care of the sheep, of the goat. הוא בא הערי ואת הדוב ונשא שא מהעדר. Now, typically when animals, hunters hunt, they hunt in packs, right? Lions hunt in packs. Bears are not. Bears are loners usually. But they usually don't go together. A lion will not go after an animal together with a bear. It's either the bear is going to take him or the lion is going to take him. But here was something very strange, something which is a little against nature. A lion and a bear came. Now the rabbis are telling us it's not just a lion and a bear, it's a lion and two of his calves and a bear and two of his calves, or one of his calves. Now it says, because in order to say it in Hebrew, you say Huba, Ari, Ve'adov, right? He can say he doesn't have to say so many words. Later on it says Gam et Ari ve'gam et Adov. He says many times additional words that are seemingly extra. So the rabbis are telling us why the extra. The extra to tell us that the Ari didn't come alone, and the dove didn't come, the lion didn't come alone, and the bear didn't come alone. So you had about 5 different animals all together. There are 5 words over there. 5 different animals all together coming to attack him at once, and they took one sheep, one sheep from the flock. Now, v'nasa seh me'eder. Now, seh is the word for sheep, for lamb. In some places, the rabbi says that it really needs to be written zeh. What happened was, after they took the animal, they killed, they broke the neck, and they took it, right? And he died. We will see in a second that David is saving that animal from the hunters, from the lion and the bear. Alive or dead, I'm not sure. But the end result is that he ended up making some sort of a belt for himself from the skin, from the hide of that lamb. So he said, this is the animal that they took, pointing to the belt that he was wearing. ויצאתי אחריו, so I wasn't afraid, because usually when all they want is one of those small sheep, just let them go and be happy and leave me out of it. but he wouldn't give in. ויצאתי אחריו, and he ran after them. והכיתיו והצלתי מפיו, and they hit him, and he saved. So from here we see that he saved alive. He rescued the prey from the mouth of the lion and the bear. And after he took the prey, so what did the lion and bear do? They weren't afraid. They turned back and they turned around and they attacked him. Vayakem alai. So he attacked me. Ve'achzakti biskano v'ikiti v'imativ. So I held his beard. A lion has a beard, right? It has a whole big beard. I don't know what the beard of the bear is, but he held them and he smited them and killed them. Okay? גם את הארי, גם הדוב היכה עבדך. I killed the lion and the bear, and this is where you see 5 words, גם את הדוב, גם את הארי, גם הדוב, there's 5 words. You could have said הארי והדוב, because there's 2 words. But there are 5 to tell us that there were 5 animals. So he killed the 5 animals, and now, who am I standing against? Only 1 animal. Big, but 1 animal. And now I understand why this whole thing happened to me. Because it's not a common occurrence that both of them will come with 5 animals and they'll take and I'll be able to hit them. I mean, it's similar, the rabbis are telling us, it's similar to what happened to Mordechai, who was walking around the palace of Achashverosh, not understanding what fell on him. How did his wife, his niece, ended up with as the one chosen by Achashverosh? It's strange. It didn't make sense, especially according to those who said that she wasn't even pretty. All right? So, but he realized that something happened, So, for that reason, you got to where you got. So this is what David is realizing now, that he had this test in order to be able to convince Saul now that he can take care of this Goliath. He's just like one of them. He's just an animal because he went against God. He disgraced the name of God, so he has no right. He's not a human being. ויאמר דוד, השם אשר הצילני מיד הארי ומיד הדוב, הוא יצילני מיד הפלישתי הזה. So David says, the God who saved me from the lion and from the bear, he's the one that's going to save me from this Philistine soldier, and don't worry. And now, we are in the middle of a sentence. We're in the middle of a sentence here, but there is a break. You can see maybe there is a break in the middle of a sentence. There is a pause. Because at that point, Saul is pausing to think, what should I do? This is like a dilemma. I like this guy. I know this guy is a good musician. I know he can play guitar or whatever, violin. But, I may be sending him to die in front of this animal, this Goliath. But then he realized that David is full of faith, and he recognized the story that it's unusual, and he felt that God is with this man. Vayomer Shaul el David, lech v'Hashem yeh imach. So you should go, and God will be with you. That's where God will be with you phrase comes from. And God will be with you because it's being told many times when you have no chance. On paper, you should be losing. So God will be with you, and that's where the movies are taken from. So now next, he's trying to arm David with the proper clothing and armor. So he gave him his own shield and his own armor and his own. So וילבש שאול לדוד מדיו, he gave him his own clothing. ונתן כובע נחושת על ראשו. And he put on his head a helmet, a copper helmet. וילבש אותו שריון, and he put the full body armor on him. ויחקור דוד את חרבו מעל מדיו, and he let David wear his own sword. ויעל ללכת כי לא ניסה. So here's the problem. The problem is that Shaul is tall and big and broad shoulders, and David is a scrawny little guy. What happened to the armored here? How he can't fit, you know? He's triple extra large, and the guy is small, you know? He's swimming in there. But miraculously, the rabbis are telling us it looks like it fit. Which, at that moment, Shaul doesn't like it already. That's the first moment that Shaul got a whiff of, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Maybe this is the guy that's going to take over me, after me. Because as we saw before, earlier in the wars, in the earlier war, the Jews didn't have any armor, any swords, nothing, no iron, except one for Shaul and one for his son Yonatan. So he had something special. He had recognizable tools. You know, when the sword of a king is not like a sword that you buy at Amazon. You know, it's something nice, special. And he gave this to this guy, and suddenly the whole thing fit. So he started, and David, smart, and saw it right away, and saw that he's better not walk out of here with this armor and with this stuff. He better take care of himself. That's not what he wanted. He doesn't want now the jealousy and the bad eye of Shaul to come with him. You know. So what does he say? He says he's trying to walk, but he's not equipped to do it. He's not used to do it. You know, he's a shepherd. He never wore this kind of thing. So David right away takes the opportunity, and it looks cumbersome and it looks hard to walk in. He says, you know what, that's not for me. I don't have experience. I've never done it before. It's not for me. Please, don't worry, you know. He takes it off, and instead he arms himself with his own special set of weapons. So first of all, he takes his staff. A staff that every good shepherd has a staff, right? And a staff is, what do you do with a staff? What does a shepherd do with the staff? I mean, if they become a dog, he hits the dog. You know?
Does he grab the
yeah, he hits the dog. The staff is used by those people to hit, shoot the dog away. Like so he takes the staff, a stick basically. He took a stick, and with the idea that he is going to use that against Goliath. We will see later on, Goliath right away sees it and says, what, am I a dog? Are you going to use the staff? What are you doing, kid? So he took that. He found 5 pebbles. What do you call them? It's stones, but it's not really. It's stones. It's not. It's rocks that are on the bottom of a stream. That are very smooth. Very, very smooth.
Stones from river rocks.
River rocks. Thank you. 5 river rocks.
They're expensive.
The what?
They're expensive.
No, not if you live near them, right? So he selected 5 of them, mina nachal, from the stream. וישם אותם בכלי הרועים אשר לו, and he put it in the bag of the shepherd bag that he has. וביילקוט, he had 2 bags. He had one bag where he had all of his stuff. That's the shepherd bag. And then he had yalkut. Yalkut is in modern Hebrew, this is a backpack. It's a backpack that you take to school. You know, when you're in first grade, your parents buy you a new yalkut. You know, a new briefcase. But yalkut is coming from the word lelaket. I put in there whatever I picked. So he had a bag where he carried all of his stuff, his whatever he needs to survive, and he has an empty bag where he picks up whatever, he finds $1 on the street, he finds whatever, some valuables, he can put it there. So he took the staff, he put 5 stones, he divided them into the 2 bags, and takes his slingshot and walks over to the Philistines, to Goliath. I think we sort of over the time, so we'll stop for now, And yeah, it's suspense to be continued.